All right, welcome back to my podcast, everybody. Today I am sitting down with a very interesting individual. I met him on a retreat I attended earlier this year, and yeah, I'm super stoked to have him on. His name's Rees, and I'm so glad I pronounced that right. And
Yeah, you do, dude.
perfect. Yeah, so Hoos, do you want to just introduce yourself a little bit and let people know who you are, where you're from, and what you're up to these days?
For sure, man. Thank you for the introduction, first of all. I'm glad to be here today. So, yeah, my name is Gus, or you can call me Guus, which is like how my name is pronounced in Dutch, because I'm from the Netherlands. I'm 21 years old. I have been doing online business stuff, entrepreneurship for about 4 to 5 years now. Pretty much went through every business model out under the sun. Like I started with e-commerce, then I went into email marketing, then I had a social media marketing agency, personal branding, and now I'm doing what people call vibe coding, but I'm seeing it more as like building digital products. Because I also have some coding knowledge from like pre-high school that I'm using. So it's like that kind of area of business is what I'm currently invested in, building digital products.
Dude, that's so cool. Um, I wanted to ask you, like, considering you're 21, one thing I want people to know is like when we both attended this retreat, we had a great time, right? It was a men's retreat, a lot of deep conversations, a lot of shot thoughts being shared. And by the end of it, I learned, I think you said like casually you were like 20 or 21 now. I was shocked because like this whole retreat, it seemed like I would assume you were older based on your wisdom and all these things and the topics you were talking about. I'm really curious about like, have you always been a learner or a thinker, or like when did you even like get into this online business stuff? Because it sounds like you've been, like you just said, you've been through all the business models and you're 21. Like, when did you get your foot in that door? And like, was there a moment where you stumbled into the online business space and started learning things? Like, can you tell me a bit more about that? Because I'm so curious.
For sure, man. That's a really good question. Um, it actually is. It actually is. And I used to say this a bunch of times at the retreat, by the way, which is why he's probably laughing.
I wanted to bring that up. You beat me to it.
Yeah, man. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, um, the kind of town where I'm in right now is where I grew up as well. It's in the south of the Netherlands, and I went to high school here, and I was quite high in my education. So I was like, uh, I don't know how they call this in like the US or Canada or something like this, but it's like more scientific education. So like they're preparing you for scientific studies essentially. So most people that were in my class were going to do computer science, medical science, psychology, just all of these like high majors, which I think they call it in the US. And I was kind of playing a lot of video games in high school. So I wasn't really too worried yet with like what kind of studies I was going to do. And at the time, I remember that I just had kind of like broken up with my first girlfriend from high school, which was like the first heartbreak I've had. Very emotional. And that kind of got me started with like self improvement as people pictured it on the internet. So I downloaded TikTok. I started like scrolling through videos, and I started getting really excited about improving myself. So kind of the main seed of my business development came from my self development, which was like pretty much triggered after I broke up with my girlfriend from high school. So yeah, that's when I really started working out. I started reading, meditating, picking up all of these healthy self improvement habits. I also looked into business because I wanted to make money. I was working a supermarket job at that time. And yeah, I just saw people making money with e-commerce. In the Netherlands, they were like advertising it a lot. So like on YouTube, you would come across videos like, hey, I make money with e-commerce. If you want to know how to do it too, like click this ad, click this webinar, those types of things. So I pretty much came across it and just started doing that besides my job and besides school. And yeah, I made some money with it. E-commerce, it wasn't as profitable. So like I had to buy products from China, import them in the Netherlands, and then sell them in the Netherlands. And I only took home about 20 to 30%, but it was enough to keep me going because I was making at one point like 5K in revenue in a month. Um, so that I guess that's like what got me continuing at that time. And yeah, then was like e-commerce, man, wasn't really as profitable. I think that's the major reason why I stopped, because it's like for sure I'm spending off this time, but if I'm only making like just a little bit or not even making as much, like might as well just go do something else. So yeah, to make it quick, then I went over to email marketing, which is like complete opposite. It's like almost no cost because you're like delivering a service to a client. So if you just get a bunch of clients, you're basically renting out your time in the beginning. So that's what I did. Problem was, didn't get a lot of clients. But yeah, then I went a little bit deeper into social media marketing. So like offering Facebook ads to clients. And yeah, that really got started and picked up some momentum. So I started actually selling clients. I started actually making money with it. And that's really how I started sort of exploring all of these like business models in the end. So kind of like recap, I started working on myself, self-improvement, exercising, meditating, reading. That got me started as well with business. And that's kind of like how I ended up here. And that started around age 16, 17 is when I started like looking at these business models.
Whoa. Wow. Yeah, 16's young. Like I think for myself, like I'm 28 now, but like I think back when I got into the space and started learning about freelancing and business stuff, it was like maybe like 23, 24, 25, some like at least a few years ago, but 16 is insane. That's awesome. I'm curious too, man, like what were you selling with your e-commerce business? Like what product?
That's a good one as well.
If you could
Um,
disclose.
yeah. I actually still have, I think, the first product I sold. This was like a water filter straw. So you know how these people that go hiking or traveling or camping, they don't have access to water maybe all the time. So this product was like they could drink, literally put this straw in the river or in the lake, and then they could drink through it safely. So the water was filtered through this straw. Um, that was the first one I sold, and I also branded it myself, which I thought was really cool. And the name I picked for my first brand was One Pro. So it was really like inspired by the phone brand One Plus, which is like a really fancy name. And then I was like, what else can I pick as a fancy name? One Pro. So I got myself a logo. I registered the brand, put it on the product. It was quite cool, actually. I still have one of those things lying out. But that was one of the products. And the second one was an anti-barking device for dogs. You might have heard of that before. But assuming based on your reaction, probably not. But this was like almost like a remote control, you know, that you use to turn off Netflix, of course, when you're watching it. And this is for dogs that bark unwantably. So like you don't want them to bark. Then you press this button on this remote thing, and it starts like sending out these electromagnetic waves that make the dog go crazy. It is like within safe limits. It's not like you're causing harm to the dogs, but it's almost like it's displaying a frequency that the dog is able to hear, but humans not so much. And then they stop barking essentially. So kind of that was the second product I sold.
That's cool. I wasn't sure if you were going to say it was like some kind of collar or like like there's invisible fences and stuff, but that's not for barking. That's for like if your dog's running away or something. But that's so interesting.
Invisible fences. Okay.
It's a thing. I don't know how many I see these days here in Canada, but like an invisible fence, it's like, I don't know how it's set up, but there's something where on your property you have it so that if your dog goes beyond a certain point, it'll get like an
Oh,
electrocution or something.
Yes.
And electrocution sounds kind of intense, but yeah, that's what I was thinking for 2 seconds. But then I realized, oh yeah, wait, that doesn't stop a dog from barking. So uh, I've never heard of what you just described, though. That's really interesting. To ask you more, just for some reason, about the straw, like that being your first product. I want to know like if there was any particular reason you went with that, because like just I know with e-commerce or like drop shipping, I know you're not necessarily drop shipping, but I remember drop shipping, that term was one of the first words I came across in my kind of online business journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's like a lot of talk about the right item or like the right product or what's the product. Like I'm curious for you, when you decided to sell that, was there something that resonated? Like why the straw, or why that, what about that idea uh felt like something you wanted to run with first?
That's a good point. Well, I didn't really have, I think, any other reason besides wanting a product that made money. So you obviously, in the e-commerce space, I wanted to buy a product that was high in demand, low in supply, kind of like basic economics. And I was doing product research, and I was finding that some people were like looking for straws. So, well, I actually sold my products on a Dutch platform that kind of like hosts, you could say like e-commerce brands and e-commerce sellers. So yeah, it's basically like Amazon. Like Amazon allows people to put products on Amazon. Does it make sense? And then they sell the products on Amazon. So in the Netherlands, we have this as well, a little bit smaller scale. It's called bol.com, literally BOL. And this platform basically takes care of the marketing. It takes care of the customers because the customers are on the platform. And then you have to deliver the demand to the customers. And then they take a bit of commission. So for this product specifically, I just found that some people were interested in it and the cost to import it weren't too high. So that's, yeah, I think that's the reason why I decided this.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a super cool product. To transition into where you're at now with, like, you brought up the term vibe coding. I know over DMs we were talking and you said there's a couple projects or products you're working on. I'd be curious to know about, if you want to explain like vibe coding in general to someone who might not have heard of this term before. And yeah, like what are you working on? The two products you're working on, what are they? What do they do? Who do they serve? Really curious about that.
For sure, man. I'm glad to take this opportunity.
The floor's yours.
For sure. So vibe coding. Well, I don't really use the term that much, but from my perspective, vibe coding is just using a bunch of AI tools to build digital products quickly. So if you're curious and listening and interested, tools like lovable.dev is one of them. This is an app that can build literally a digital product in like seconds. I'm not saying it's working properly. I'm not saying it's functional. I'm not saying it will make you money, but it will build the product quickly. Also, bolt.new is a tool for mobile apps. So you can deploy an app, literally an app for your iPhone or Android really quickly, also within like seconds. It works similar to ChatGPT. You literally just put in text and it's going to generate an app based on your text. And yeah, so that's kind of like vibe coding is just using these AI tools to build apps quickly, but also tools to make the process of coding quicker. So previously, as programmers or developers or builders, you had to type out all of the code yourself. So mostly refer to like documentation and copy and paste the computer code from these things into your own code. But now with AI, you can ask AI to build the code inside of these platforms. So there's a wonderful tool called Cursor that people who are into this space probably have heard of. If you haven't, definitely check it out. And this is a platform that literally auto completes the code for you. So imagine that you're writing out some code, you made an error. Instead of having to find the error yourself, which is previously what you had to do, AI is pretty much now capable with this app like Cursor to identify the error, and then you just have to press tab on your keyboard and it automatically fixes the error. And it can do this quickly for as many things as possible. So imagine that you have like a huge file and you want to change a button so it appears on the top of your screen, and you want to do something different with it. Then you just tell that to this app, and the app is going to change it. All you have to do is press tab or accept, and it's done. It's like a much quicker way to build digital products with code. That's a short summary.
Wow.
And I have been using this to build 2 products. The first one is called Tracklist. This was kind of more of a project to get started with building something, because the feedback I got from people wasn't very positive. But that's basically an app designed for people to keep track of anything. So it's very much focused on customizability. Think like something like Spotify. People are able to put their own music on it. The original idea I had with Tracklist, my first product, was to build something similar. So to have people put their trackers on this app so they could share it with other people. And then the second one I'm building right now is for vibe coders specifically. So kind of the niche I'm in. I'm building a product for them. And that is to help them actionize feedback or make feedback actionable. So I just mentioned that if you want to like grow a digital product, feedback is very useful. So like asking people, what did you think of the product? What do you think can be improved? Did you encounter any errors? All these questions that you can ask your customers. I'm planning on building a tool. I'm actually already not planning to. I'm building a tool that makes this feedback quickly actionable for vibe coders. So in essence, let's say you're a vibe coder, you're building apps with these AI tools. Now you are building these apps. You want to get customers. So you have to get the feedback from the customers in order to improve your product. And my goal of this app is to be like the middleman that the vibe coder can store their feedback in so they can improve the product quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Super cool. So, yeah, do you have is there maybe after you can say if there's, somewhere you can send people who might be interested in that, or we'll talk about your socials at the end or whatever, but do you have a name for it already, or is there somewhere like you're sending people to yet?
That's also a good one. Like with products, it's like the product name is very important. It might seem like trivial, like just name it something, but a product name says actually a lot about about a product. Like let's say if, for example, Apple would be called something completely different, like it wouldn't have the same vibe. Like if there was called something very long, very old, very, like, I don't know, like you wouldn't know what exactly it was, then it would be quite strange. So right now I don't have a specific name, but I'm thinking something like Viber feedback or something. So just placing it in, so it makes sense to the niche, and also so it actually doesn't stray away too much from the essence.
Yeah. Yeah, if you keep feedback in there, like that's very like clear. Like it's what the app is doing or what the product is doing. Very cool. On the note of like vibe coding in general and like that skill, this new opportunity, how important is it, do you feel that like does someone need prior coding experience to use these tools, these vibe coding tools, or how would you go about this if like, yeah, you're someone who maybe has never coded before, but they're hearing about this new opportunity and how quickly you can build products? Like, where should someone start, or where should they begin to learn this thing?
So I don't know if vibe coding is necessarily the best if you don't have coding experience. I think it's also to do with your goal. So if your goal is to make money with something, to build something sustainable, I would first look at where your natural inclinations and skills lie, and also where your interests lie. So if you're genuinely interested in learning to build digital products and you don't know how to code, definitely start, because it's like, why not? But if you think it's going to be like an incredibly fast money-making machine for you, and that's the reason why you want to learn to code or to build products, I would say maybe rethink your decision, because there's plenty of ways out there to make money. So if you're not like inclined or interested in vibe coding or learning to code, like I wouldn't do it. But if they were genuinely interested, what I would do is just start building. So how I learned to code is at like age 15, I was using this app called Replit, I think. So REPL.IT. And it was basically an interactive. Oh, no, actually, I think I used another one. Doesn't really matter. It was just an interactive website that allowed me to really like build the basic stuff with the programming language called Python. So I would actually just start following these courses, and then with these courses build like really simple apps. So if you want to get started with vibe coding, really simple, just start building, but keep it simple. Don't like start making something super complicated, because then you're gonna definitely almost scare yourself into thinking it's too complicated. So which it's
Yeah.
not, by the way. So
Cool. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, and you bring up such a great point about how you should ask yourself, like, what am I actually interested in the first place? Because as you know, I'm sure, like just being online and in that, uh, business space, seeing what other people are doing, there's always like it seems that there's always like a new flashy thing that comes along, a new business model, a new opportunity. And then there's a lot of hype around it. But um, it's like not everyone is going to actually want to explore it, or based on their own interests. Like maybe they're better at something else. Maybe they're interested in something else. And they'll just, yeah, naturally feel drawn to other things that they're better at, naturally. Like, I think it's just such a great point you brought up. Like, well, don't do it for this reason or that reason, but like, if you actually are genuinely curious about building digital products and you know that, or you are genuinely interested in coding aside from this buzz and hype around it, then you should, maybe experience it and try it out.
yeah, and I mean it never hurts to try something out. I feel like even with these like trends, just trying it out quickly and seeing if it fits you, that's never really a big deal. But if you're talking about like investing a bunch of your time in it and seriously committing to building something with it, then I think you should like consider being a little more serious with it, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Brad, what kind of trend do you think there's also going on besides vibe coding?
Good question. Um, Trend. Well, in a similar uh sense, I feel like there's a lot of talk about like AI agents in general. I don't know how much overlap there is with that in vibe coding. Maybe you could tell me more about that. But I see a lot right now on the timeline, people talking about AI agents, and I have like a very minimal understanding of what that is, but it seems to me that it's like just different AIs working together and passing things along to one another to the point where something can actually be done, like and accomplished, aside from just like I'm in ChatGPT and I'm asking it stuff and it's giving me text. It's like AI agents that are separate agents interacting with one another. Like, have you heard of that, or Shirley, or no?
No, I'm not sure. Do you have an example of like an AI agent?
Um, I'm probably the last one to talk on it, but I don't know. There's different softwares I keep hearing about. Like if I look up like Lindy.ai or something, I think it's Lindy, Meet Your AI Assistant. I don't know. There's a couple softwares. I'll have to get back to you on it about like which ones. But I think AI agents, it's like, yeah, that there's the concept of AI agents, and they can be used to, yeah, do things seamlessly and like collaborate on things. So I see people, maybe it's like, for example, I think like ChatGPT can serve or like function as an AI agent in certain ways. Like it's connected to something else. And then, you know, like something in ChatGPT is generated and then that gets sent somewhere else. And then this other AI does something with it. And like,
Oh, so you mean kind of like a holistic entity almost that is able to use all of these different AI features and really becomes like an assistant or like almost like a human, but then in AI form.
Yeah. Like for example, like I see people, I'm trying to think of a use case. Um, like I see people talking about using AI agents to have an AI agent set up that like you tell it, oh, I'm looking for people who are on LinkedIn who have this in their bio. Okay, that's one thing. And then based on that, okay, once you find all these people, I want you to generate custom like DM outreach scripts for each
Ah, like
person.
this.
And then once those are generated, okay, this thing, send it there. And then this is going to actually send those messages out. So it's like a totally like autopilot like thing that's happening. And like the human is just like setting the ball rolling at the beginning, like do this and then a whole cascade of events unfold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen that a lot for like sales and outreach purposes. Like
Yeah.
AI lead generation bots is like a huge market as well. But Brad, are you genuinely interested in AI? Just curious.
Um, it seems that way to at least to some degree. Like, I mean, I use AI for work stuff, like, for freelancing and just ideation and just like life stuff throughout my day, like just for like as I think Dan Coe describes it as like a creative sparring partner or something. Like I do use AI or ChatGPT and Claude for that purpose. But yeah, to answer your question, I'd say like I'm keeping my finger on the pulse. I'm not an expert by any means at AI or anything, but I am kind of just paying attention to new developments and things like that. So to answer your other question about, yeah, what trends do I see? That is one that I see a lot, like even in the last like month or two on my feed. It's been a topic obviously longer than that, but yeah, I hear a lot of buzz around AI agents. So I do try to pay attention because I feel like um just AI in general, it's such a like unprecedented like kind of thing. And especially like if you're someone who's doing things online, you're into business and all this stuff, even creativity and whatever, like I think it has like implications that everyone, or at least myself, I should pay attention. I feel like I should pay attention to what's happening with it, you know?
Yeah, that's what you get with the trends, man. It's like you feel like you're missing out on something. And that's exactly what like people want, who are successful in the trend. That's what they're playing on. It's like um, they know and they see it as a trend. They have made some success with the trend. So whether it's like AI chatbots, immediately, and they're genius people, by the way, immediately they start putting out courses, putting out tweets like, I did this successfully. If you want to know how to do it, DM me or something, or buy this course. And they make so much money from it, man. It's like, if you're able to identify a trend early, if you're able to succeed with it and then share what you did, you can make so much money,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah.
But truly, like, I feel like there will be so many trends more to come. It's like, it's never a thing that's over for good. Um, and by the way, what do you specifically use AI for? You said ideation. For what kind of project is that?
Yeah, so like for example, with my like freelance work, I do copywriting, email marketing, and just general like marketing kind of consultation, I guess, for my clients. And so yeah, I'll just like, input their situation and describe certain things we're working on or problems that they have and like just get some feedback, get some like ideas from AI and like kind of, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Like it's useful for that, I find like blind spots and stuff. But also like, helping me synthesize, like say I've compiled like a bunch of like reviews or like testimonials from like my clients, previous clients or like customers or something. I use it for like, yeah, helping me synthesize like pain points and things like that. It really speeds things up. As opposed to in the past, like I'd have to, spend more time into like research and like, all that stuff. AI is really useful for that, I find. But there was something, what were we saying just before that? I was going to ask you about something related to that. Okay, what you're touching on actually. It made me think of like, what are your thoughts on like when it comes to trends, and there's always a new business op, a new skill, a new hyped up thing to dive into. Something that just came to mind when you were speaking there was like there's a lot of hype on the skills themselves or these specific little opportunities, but I don't see so much hype around like find your vision, like find what you want to build, like what are you working towards aside from any trend or skill or whatever that's on the timeline. Like, do you even know what it is you're trying to build? What are you actually trying to bring forth? And then once you know that, you see that, and you're interacting or viewing that skill through that lens, like, oh, how does this play a part in what I'm building? Maybe it does. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a lot of attachment. What you're saying about the core sellers and everyone like that, that just, immediately shills a program or something saying, you got to learn the skill. If you don't learn this skill, you're going to be left in the dust. Like, there's so much language like that, but there's not enough importance, I feel like, placed on like, okay, well, just first like tap into what it is you're trying to bring into reality, and then view all these things as just tools in your toolkit to bring that main vision of yours to life. That was a lot, but what do you think on that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you hit. I think as they call the saying, you hit the nail on the head. um, yeah, I believe as well that um, like true success is individual success. So what I mean is look at your own personality, your own uniqueness, and really tap into that. Like be authentic, look at what you want to do, look at what you truly want to achieve, look at why you truly want to achieve it, listen to your intuition. I really believe in these things. But I also think that the kind of system which we live in, and really I really for some time did not want to really accept or look at the fact that we live in like a controlled society in a sense, but we do. And I think the system just doesn't want people to become powerful individuals. I think that and I kind of slipped the kind of question you want to ask, but just to build on top of what you said, it's just not convenient for people to think for themselves because initially it's literally taking too much energy for them. So if you have someone like a creator telling you that you should think for yourself, like go meditate, go ask yourself questions, and don't look for answers from other people, but look for the answers within yourself. Like advice like this is valuable. It's like truly valuable. It's advice that changed my life probably for the most, but it's not advice that's easy to do or easy to implement or quick reward. You know what I mean? And people are looking for the quick reward. Your brain is literally wired for simplicity. So if, for example, you want to make money, you have this desire, which is already simplified. Because if you really think about it, a lot of people, they link the desire of making money to a better life, but it doesn't always equal that. For example, you buy a house, you buy quality food, you go to networking events, you have the car you want to buy, and your mind thinks, oh, these things are bought by money. That's simple. Money. We have to focus on money. So your mind now goes from house, car, networking event, food, which is like a lot of things. It goes to money because money buys those things. So your mind loves the simplicity. Now it goes towards money. The same thing happens with like pursuing your uniqueness or going to like these opportunities. Because if you're wanting success and then someone says success, hop on this trend. It's like mind wants success. It sees the trend. It's like 1 and 1 is 2. It's just simple. It goes towards the trend. So I think like what people need to hear, what people need to do is tap into their uniqueness. It's really going their own way. It's doing their own thing. It's listening to what they want themselves. That's what people need to hear. And for my opinion, need to do, or it's most preferable for them to do. But yeah, right now the system, human nature just doesn't favor that approach, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, for sure. I think you're spot on. Yeah, like, and I feel like that what you just said like relates to the sentiment that like you just have to keep failing or keep showing up. And if you do that long enough, you're going to see the other side of it and realize, oh yeah, for the longest time I've been chasing the dopamine hit from the new thing, from the new fad, from the new skill. And it's like, oh, I'm still interested in these things. Like I'm still here. So clearly I'm obsessed with this for a reason. Like, what is my actual vision underlying this? Like I'm trying to bring something to life, but people at the start were just sold the skill or like, yeah, like the income or something like that end goal or that end outcome as like the thing we're chasing, but we're actually probably not actually just wanting that end outcome. We're trying to express something or build something of our own. Um, and yeah, there was something. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, do you think like, do you think you basically have to go through that? Like, I'm wondering if everyone has to go through that. Like, it's not like there's someone who say they're working a 9 to 5 job and they haven't done anything online yet or learned any skills really. Can they really benefit from the advice of like, okay, first thing you need to do is just meditate, spend time in nature, journal, pay attention to your interests, and then, yeah, pick up that course on this or then pick up that course? Or does everyone basically just have to hop around in the beginning? You know, you acquire different skills, you try different things. Oh, I liked that part of it, but maybe not this part. Like, you know, like, do we all just kind of have to stumble around for a little bit? And if we do that long enough, then we get to a point where it's like, okay, now I actually do have some skills and like I'm still here doing this. Maybe there's ways for me to use them in my own unique way that the guru or the course seller hasn't like said explicitly, you know? That make any sense?
Yeah, I think it's not binary. So it's not like first go your own way, go introspective and then do this, or first do this and then go introspective. It's not that simple. There's always context. Everyone is different. Everyone has different experiences. Everyone has different traumas, problems, desires. There's so many variables that come in, which is exactly why we cannot answer this with like a simple yes, no, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do think is that you have to look at your life as objective as possible. So really, if you want to get started with this, is like just try and take this bird's eye view of your life and yourself. See where you're at, see where you come from, see where you want to go, and really try and almost detach yourself from yourself so you can look at yourself and your life without all of the emotional attachment you have towards everything, and then start making decisions around these things. Because otherwise, like many of the decisions that you're going to make, whether around going your own way on something or following a trend, these decisions are going to be like influenced by emotions, especially with trends. Because what we talked about is like people play on these emotions of fear of missing out. It's like if you don't take action on the trend, this happens. So to really just wipe all of that out, people have to start looking at themselves where they're at as objectively as possible, from my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, I wanted to ask you too about like your experience sharing your thoughts online and like posting and putting yourself out there in the world, because I know you have a YouTube channel. I've gone through some of your videos and like you talk about spiritual concepts and like reality. And I know maybe you want to talk on or speak on a book I know you love or have read, reality transurfing,
Mm.
which I've started. But yeah, like I'd be curious who's to know about like when you started or when did you decide to start sharing your thoughts online and making YouTube content even specifically? Like, was a certain moment or how was that for you? Like when you began to do that?
I think that was about a year ago now, maybe a little bit over. Probably a little bit over. Um, After I had my social media marketing agency, I really wanted to find something I was a little bit more passionate about, because I was really loving the business model, to be honest. I really loved the kind of gain that online business is, like reaching out to clients, that getting them on sales calls, selling them, and making money, and then delivering results. Looking back, I really enjoyed the process, but the kind of niche I was serving wasn't really interesting for me. So I was working with medical spa owners. Which maybe do you know that, like a medical spa?
Yeah, I've heard of those. Like, what kind of services do they usually provide?
So it's like a medical, like Botox, for example, or
Okay, yeah.
and I hope the content doesn't get demonetized now. Um, what else do you have? Like fillers is what you also have. Like
Okay.
most things for like elderly women and men that want to improve themselves aesthetically. It's also like peels, for example. All of these things are coming back now, like chemical peels, like skin masks, like lymphatic massages, all of this stuff.
Hmm.
That's the kind of niche I worked with. So I was consistently taking sales calls with like 30 to 50-year-old women, usually, and also men. Looking back, that was quite funny. Like just me as like a 19-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, selling like $1,700 per month retainers to like 35-year-old medical spa owners. Such a great time. But yeah, man, after I did that, I yeah, pretty much wanted to also do something else. Decided to go into personal branding because I saw that from Dan Coe, who was really promoting this philosophy of instead of going to the customer, like let the customer come to you by posting authentic content. So that's exactly what I did. I just started posting. Initially, I started with mental models. So like, do you know Charlie Munger?
I've heard of him. I've probably seen some of his stuff.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah, I think he recently passed away as well, quite some time ago. He was
oh,
the
okay.
business partner of Warren Buffett, the business.
Oh, okay, okay.
Gotcha.
I've
So
heard the
I
name.
started making videos on the mental models he promoted. So these were primarily things that you could observe in nature, in math, in physics, that you could use to make decisions. So it's like a lot more rational than quantum physics or like spirituality. But I really enjoyed it. So I started making videos on that. Um, then I kind of shifted to productivity and really started helping people with like productivity models, helping them become more productive. And yeah, then I just got pretty obsessed with reality trend surfing, with like beliefs, with mindset. I just started cramming out videos about that and those types of topics. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how I got started with the personal branding space. Pretty much after Dan Co. and just exploring my interests, and I saw that as a way of doing it.
Cool. Super cool. Do you have like if there was a piece of advice you'd give to someone who um yeah, feels that call to express themselves online? They've heard of like how powerful it can be and just be a nice fun way to express yourself in the world. Like do you have any tips for someone who's thought about it? Maybe they want to start a personal brand or create their first YouTube video, but they just haven't yet. Maybe they feel some resistance. What piece of advice would you give to someone like that?
Mm, 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 mm. So they want to pretty much start expressing themselves online, but they feel resistance towards it. Is that essentially the question?
Yeah.
Just do it, man. Because like the resistance you feel, that's pretty much always a product of your own psyche, your own like psychology. So if you are worried that people are going to judge you, it's always a uh, projection that you are judging yourself for something, or you're judging other people, and that's like you're afraid of that judgment. So yeah, man, understand no one cares. Like literally, the first YouTube videos that people have uploaded, even me, even like Dan Co, even like other people, the first Twitter posts they make, the first products they build, like no one really cares about that. Maybe it's going to succeed, but there's a very low chance. But there's an even lower chance that you're going to succeed if you like don't do anything at all. So just start putting out the reps. Also, another thing I want to add is like all of the things you pretty much find, not all of them, but most of the things that you discover in life, and this has to do with your personality, with your preferences, your goals, your desires, these are found while you're actually moving, while you're taking action. Because if you were born and you just sat still and you just start meditating, Like you wouldn't have gotten to the same goals or the same like desires that you do now. It's only because you were not happy with something that you then can start transforming that into what you do want to be happy with,
Hmm.
right? So it's like expressing yourself is a process as well. It's not like you express yourself or you don't express yourself. It's like you just get started with it. A recent example for myself, which is maybe interesting. I noticed I was getting way too serious with my brand and with my online presence. So when I was young, I was quite a bit dry humorous. So like I was always a bit ironic in a sense with my humor. And I noticed that as I was going deeper into spirituality, kind of this idea of being unconditionally loving and like not judging, not making like judgments, um, I really mistakenly perceived that as you can't like make fun jokes, for example, or you can't have humor. But then I realized for me, it's like a lot more natural to just have like this dry humor. And it doesn't need to offend anyone. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is like, um, that expressing humor for myself was like something which I hadn't done because I thought it wasn't as spiritual to like make jokes, for example. Crazy stuff like this. But I only discovered like this because I was taking action, because I was putting out posts, because I was looking through my posts and I was seeing like, I really like this post myself. And it was like a post of me making a selfie of myself with a shadow. And then the text was me doing shadow work. So it was like a, a crazy joke. And I was like, I like this one the most out of like all of these value tweets. And why is that? Well, it's because it's authentic. It's because it's what I really am. Um, so yeah, just do stuff and then look back at what you did, and you will find what you what is most authentic for you essentially in the process while taking action.
Mm. Dude, that's awesome. I feel like that kind of unlocks something even in me just right now, like thinking about it. Like that's so interesting. You've noticed that in yourself, like the desire to express yourself more with your humor and stuff. But yeah, it's like, oh, but is it spiritual to go about it that way or whatever? But yeah, I think it is like, and we're all unique individuals, and that's like the amazing thing about the internet and the opportunity before us. We're all unique and have different personalities and different interests, and we can just by posting and showing up authentically, like you said, we can be whatever we want, and there is going to be a unique blend of our our interests and our outlooks on life. Like, yeah, that post you just described is hilarious, but also there's like maybe something spiritual about it too. Like, not everything even has to fit in. You kind of touched on it earlier about like it's not binary or black or white. I'm applying that to this as well. Like, just like not everything necessarily has to fit in the black or white kind of box. It's kind of like gray and more of just like a blend of a bunch of things, you know?
That's true, man. And for you, Brad, do you have maybe some ideas of have you maybe seen where you are like expressing yourself online?
Have I seen where like in terms of like where in terms of like where am I speaking from, or like what can you
Well, maybe similar to what I said, like I discovered that humor was a bit left out for me. Um, what kind of traits or characteristics have you observed that are really part of you when you express yourself online? So even with this
hmm,
podcast.
hmm, interesting. Yeah, I'd say like if I think of like tweets and things like that, what would I say? Making it a bit more like playful and like, yeah, I'd say humor as well. Like, kind of not making it as so serious, like talking about serious things is like super serious, but adding a bit more playfulness and humor to things that uh typically are like, yeah, just talked about in a very like, I don't know, plain way. Like, for example, if someone's talking about like, if there's like the topic of like synchronicities or like manifestation or like different like spiritual comments topics like that, there's a way to go about it that is like very when the universe blah blah blah, this will have to like, 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 okay, you know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
right? But like, maybe this is meta now because parodying like how it's typically talked about, you
That's
know?
funny though.
Thank you. No, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like there's a way to go about it that is more like shows your personality. Um, and so to answer your question, yeah, I'd say humor as well for me. That's something I should, and or not that I should, but I do want to step more into and convey online because I think, yeah, not everyone, but there is a lot of seriousness in the world already, and that's great. There's a lot of humor in the world already, but I think it's pretty cool to like strike a balance of both. And if it's authentic to you, like integrating whatever kind of emotions or personality you want to convey when you talk about anything, like don't, uh, like you're saying, like, yeah, we don't have to suppress part of ourselves when we talk about things. Like, lean into that, lean into your uniqueness, lean into your unique expression, because there's someone out there on the internet that's actually going to resonate with that more than if they just saw like a more like less personable, like more templated kind of informational uh presentation of that, you know, like we connect with human beings at the end of the day, I feel like personalities. So yeah, I as well would like encourage anyone out there to step into more of their personality and express themselves like authentically, like you're saying.
That's a huge point which you made. Like at the end of the day, we're humans, and really, I think what benefits everyone is for you to do well. Because if you do very well, then you're more inclined to help other people do very well. So it's always within everyone's best interest if you also do well. So, like being your most authentic self, making the most money, having the best relationship, having the best health. Like all of these things are not just great for you, they're also great for other people. Because when you're in good health, when you have a lot of money, you give more money, you give more of your energy to people. You are able to share more value. Like it's pretty much better for everyone, man. That's what I've also seen.
Yeah, for sure. And I think people recognize that, like, when we see someone who's like showing up authentically as themselves, and they're willing to be vulnerable and kind of just show like a genuine part of themselves, I think that can kind of be seen and resonated with. Like it does stand out in a way, or at least it does to me. I'm finding more and more when I see someone that's like just rocking who they are, and you can kind of tell that they're embracing that, and they're not like trying to conform in any particular way.
Yeah, and I think that's not really being vulnerable as more as like just stop caring about uh like these stereotypes. Exactly what you're saying, trying to conform. I think like being authentic is not about being vulnerable, but it's more about like stop listening to the stereotypes.
Mm,
Because who decided it was like wrong or right to be vulnerable, for example?
mm,
That's pretty much
true,
like what I think about it.
true, true. Giving me something to think about there. Hmm.
Because really, if you think about it, it's a lot more vulnerable if you don't express yourself because you're holding on to this energy. You're kind of like suppressing this part of you
Well,
that when you don't express is like holding you back from becoming your best self, and then you cannot help other people. So really the most vulnerable thing you can do is like not express yourself, man.
whoa. I gotta meditate on that after. That's really interesting. That's like a flip of the switch. I like that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah, it's like it's a fragile. There's something that's coming up for me is like, yeah, that's like vulnerable, but also like, yeah, fragile. It's more fragile to operate that way. It's like you're not, yeah, you're not comfortable. You're not just like chill. You're not just like expressing. You're trying to hold it in, and yeah, I see the vulnerability in that now. That's a good point.
Yeah, man, because
Interesting.
like if you have no personality or you don't show it, like it's easy for people to judge you or to like see you as less or for yourself to see yourself as less because like I don't know, man. For some reason, like people who are just authentic, they can be so crazy, but it since everything is like energy at the foundation, that just wins, man. One example I want to give is Peter Levels. Maybe you've heard of him. He's like a Dutch indie hacker slash also vibe coder.
Hmm.
And this guy is like, he is authentic. Like, and he makes probably like maybe 1 to 300K a month. And his marketing is like really strange. Some of his products are also really strange. He actually made a flight simulator. It looks like Roblox. I'm not even kidding. You know, like the Roblox app. And he makes 15K a month with it. Just because he has this authentic brand, this big presence. So yeah, man, like honesty, truth, and authenticity, I think that can take you a long way. And I'm actually working myself on really building that kind of authentic personality and presence. And the last thing I would like to mention about this is that it's not really about building this personality or like developing your personality, because the main insight is that you already have this personality. It's something that doesn't need to be built, it doesn't need to be developed, it just needs to be discovered, it needs to be seen, because it's already inside. The main thing is just removing the layers of crap that you have acquired from your childhood probably and from later on in life, and then just allow this authentic version of yourself to come through. Like there's nothing much you have to do other than just stop holding on to these things which are not.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes so much sense. Yeah, it's like an unearthing or an uncovering of who you are and what your personality is, as opposed to, yeah, like you're saying, just building it, constructing it. Oh, like, yeah, what's my personality? That's so interesting, man. In relationship to like, or in relation to like creating online, expressing yourself, let's say with personal branding, and just putting content out there. Um, do you have like advice or thoughts on like, say someone's like just beginning their journey and they want to just share more of themselves out there in the world online? Do you have any thoughts on like balancing just like to get the reps in like your creative flow, just expressing yourself in whatever way possible versus like putting time into like maybe like templates or learning like formats that do well for social media and stuff like that? Like how do you personally strike that balance, or like how have you gone about it like yourself, like putting videos out there, tweeting? I'm curious like how you've struck that balance between um following what works and like what people are saying is, oh, this is a great hook, do this kind of thing, versus just like flow, expression, and just putting something out there and not worrying too much about the formatting and stuff.
Yeah, so indeed, like you mentioned, there has to be balance here. So if you just always go your own way, you're kind of like going to get tricked by yourself because you don't look at anything else, and for that reason, you're just probably going to um try and create everything from your own mind, but your mind is pretty much just collecting the memories from the past. So what you're actually doing is just like uh creating content or whatever you're trying to do, um still from other people. It's just from the past. So what I think is most effective is to um really trust yourself most of the time. So most of the time, don't look at anything else, because that's going to get in the way. Like if you, for example, want to write a book and you read a book as well, then the writing of the author that you are reading the book from is going to influence your writing, because your mind is trying to save energy. And if you've just read something, then your mind is like, oh, easy, let's just do this, what this author did. So what I think, and I'm no expert at this at all, so please think for yourself in this regard. But if you're creating something, try as much as possible to leave out all of the other things that could potentially interfere with your own creativity, but also sometimes keep putting new information into your brain, because like at the end of the day, your own way is also like expressed in other people. So it's like spiritually, we are all one. So going your own way is like, if you take that to the extreme, it just becomes ego. So you have to also find a balance between truly expressing your own creativity, but also understanding that we don't live on our own in this world. It's not an egoic world. So then if you take something for someone else, that's completely fine. Like, you don't have to completely go your own way, because that's another extreme. You kind of want this healthy balance of personal creativity as well as sometimes using something from someone else, because why not? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're social creatures, and we're gonna just it's in our nature to learn from others, and to, I mean, we talk to each other, and yeah, there's definitely, we're all, like you said, we're all like the same basically in some ways. So we're going to get ideas kind of from interacting with others and just speaking our mind. And then someone else gives, like, even in this podcast, like I say something or you say something, and then like you give me an insight about something. Like, I think of the vulnerability moment. That was like a flip of the switch for me. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about that differently now. Like, but like now I can go down that rabbit hole, like it's just it's like a dance or like a conversation. We're just synthesizing ideas and expressing them in our own ways.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Super cool. Well, I'm trying to think of, I feel like we're almost an hour in, or what are we at? Or we're just over an hour in. So I wanted to kind of ask you just what you're looking forward to, or what you're excited to bring to life, or like what, yeah, what lights you up right now? What are you excited to continue doing? And like, yeah, what do you want to bring more of into your life, and what are you kind of cultivating and excited to cultivate right now?
Ooh, the energy with which you asked that question was good, man. Yeah, I'm just looking to bring a lot more things into my life, like literally that. Because I really want to start meeting a lot of new people, interesting people. I'm ready to start, like trying out a bunch of different new things for my apps, maybe even build more apps, start learning more things from people, start expressing myself, start kind of playing with some things, reading new books, kind of like this seed of just exploration of new that's very, very active for me right now. And I think also trying to uh, keep the growth balanced. So I have tendency to like want to do things quickly, and then if I see that, for example, let's say you're running in the gym and or lifting weights, whatever you want to do, and you see that like 10 kgs or 10 pounds, I don't know, it goes easily. Then you want to go up like 20 kgs, goes easily. Then don't immediately go to like 80 kgs, because then maybe you're going to run into some problems. So really, what I found and what I'm going to be focusing on in the near future is making my growth manageable. So not going from like 0 to 1 million per month in like a couple of months, because I don't know if that will be necessarily that fun. But just keeping it balanced, keeping it step by step. It doesn't have to be small steps. It can be big steps, but they have to be steps. So yeah, man, I'm quite excited about the products I'm building, the products other people are building, kind of how we can all play a part in this ecosystem, how we can make things easier for other people. Actually, yesterday I downloaded a habit app for the first time. I never used to do that, but I was like, why not? Maybe someone has built something cool that I can use. So yeah, man, all of these things that excite me, technology, people, even spirituality as well still. Um, it's all good.
Awesome, dude. Well, that's amazing. It's been a pleasure chatting with you again. In case my audience doesn't know, I was on Guus's podcast as well. So if you guys haven't seen that, definitely check out that episode. It's been a pleasure, man. You're such an interesting dude, and yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope people can kind of get some value from it. I think you dropped a lot of truth bombs, and yeah, do you want to just state your socials, where people can find you, and even track list? I know you have that product out, right? So feel free to list your socials or where you want to send people to.
Yeah, for sure. I'm most active on Twitter right now, so if you want, you can check me out. I can probably send it to you, Brad. My YouTube has some valuable videos, so if you want to check that out, I will send that to you as well. I'm gonna bump up my LinkedIn and Instagram and Threads a little bit more because I feel like there's potential there. And yeah, outside of that, first project I've built is Tracklist. Don't know if that's still going to be up, to be honest. But the second one I'm building, kind of like the Viber feedback app, that's going to be on shortly. So if it's on, I'll probably send it to you. If not, then people can find it on my Twitter, or YouTube or LinkedIn and find it through there, man.
Awesome. Sounds great, man. So thank you, Hughes, for coming on. It's been great speaking with you once again. And until next time, everyone. See ya.